MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Couple Chevrolet, GMC, and Chevrolet. And GMC Truck Month is here. Absolutely huge discounts and 2.9% for 72 months. I also just wanted to share a little bit more about the Couple family. They've been serving the Omaha and Lincoln and surrounding communities for over 50 years with great customer service and small town charm. That's always been our motto, and we absolutely will not be undersold. It truly is confident buying and confident driving. So come on in, meet the team, check us out at Couple or at CoppleCars.com. All deals with approved credit.
At Schwezo Construction, safety isn't just a policy, it's a promise. Build with us. Work safe, go home proud. We're hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back, on and off the job site. If you're ready to be part of a company where your safety and success come first, visit Schwezo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com and apply today. Schwezo Construction, 40 years strong and still building the future.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of showers and storms this afternoon. Otherwise, probably sunny and windy, a high near 85. Tonight, decreasing clouds and winds, a low around 57. And tomorrow, a slight chance of showers and storms late. Otherwise, mainly sunny, windy, and hot, a high near 95. I'm meteorologist Kyle Flecker for 93.7 The Ticket and ticketfm.com.
Put lawn irrigation on automatic. Think Judson Irrigation for worry-free service to Lincoln homeowners and business community. Judson Irrigation will turn on your sprinkler system in the spring, repair or redesign as needed, and turn it off in the fall. For service to orphan sprinklers, remember Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Are you craving the ultimate game day experience? Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill has your front row seat. Dive into delicious wings, juicy burgers, and frosty drinks, all served up with TVs covering every inch of the walls so you'll never miss a play. Stop in for their incredible daily specials like $3 tall boys on Mondays, 5 wings for less than $6 on Wednesdays, and $20 beer buckets on Fridays. Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill right by the Lincoln Airport at 3111 Northwest 12th Street.
May is National Electrical Safety Month. LES is here to help you stay safe around electricity with simple, practical tips. Learn how to protect yourself, your home, and your loved ones at les.com/safety.
Sandhills Global is growing right here in Lincoln. With our expanding campus and continued growth, we're hiring across a wide range of careers, from interns to experienced professionals. Join the team at Sandhills Global and build your career with competitive pay, great benefits, and real opportunities to grow. Visit sandhills.jobs to view openings and apply today. That's sandhills.jobs.
3, 2, 1. The drop is live. Screens freeze everywhere, except yours. You've been training for this moment. And with Allo Fiber's zero-lag precision, you strike first. No lag, no limits, just speed. Can your internet provider do that? Stay ahead of every drop. Visit allofiber.com/all-in.
In communities like ours, local relationships still matter. At Insight Partners, we believe we are better together. That's why insurance agencies across the Midwest have joined Insight Partners to better serve local customers and communities with all their insurance needs. From personal to commercial or specialty insurance, your local Insight Partners team is here to help protect what matters most. Insight Partners, better together. Learn more at myInspartners.com.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. It's time to go one-on-one with DP. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Downtown Lincoln Foundation. Here is your host, Derek Pearson.
Thursday, boom to you from here at One-on-One. A little bit of a different location for us today. We're live from Bowlin Stadium as Nebraska softball gets ready for the Lincoln Regional this weekend. Should be a lot of fun. We will be out here with 93.7 The Ticket all day long until 6 o'clock. Just kind of taking in the vibes, the fresh air, everything that is going to get to rolling here from Bowlin Stadium for the Lincoln region. Of course, Nebraska waiting to make their mark here in the softball tournament. Kind of strange. They're the number 1 team according to the rankings, but the number 4 seed according to what we have in the NCAA tournament. Yet that still equates to a number 1 seed, so not the worst situation to be in. Of course, Huskers take on South Dakota at 5:30 on Friday, so that's when we will actually get some action out here. But they're going to be taking some practice reps. We're going to have all these teams. Of course, the other teams in town include Louisville, I mentioned South Dakota, and Grand Canyon. So we'll see if we can do our best out here to maybe track some of them in here and get them on the radio. But we tracked one person down that we needed to, and that is Nebraska women's tennis coach Herman Delmagro, joining us once again from Bowlin Stadium. Bit of a windy day. Might have to hold on to your phone and such, Coach. But thanks for joining us out here.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me here. I think it's a cool setup. A little breezy, but a good setup. We should enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to be here. Softball is having such a great year, and they run such a great program. And it's good to celebrate them. So.
Yeah, we know. I know you've got a preference sometimes for some outdoor tennis. Would today be too windy? Do you think would it make it?
I think it'll be kind of the cusp. I haven't checked the hourly wind, but it needs to be in the 21 hour or less, and I think this is pretty close.
Yeah.
So it will be. But I love outdoor tennis. So the more we can get outside, the better.
Yeah, certainly some gusts of wind you might hear from time to time with our broadcast here. But is that too? I mean, is there, if it's kind of windy and you're waiting to serve, can you hold off a second, or you just got to go?
At times, we have a time between points and the next point starts. You have a time, but once you're in the motion, then if you have to stop, I think you're okay. But if you take too long, you get a time violation. So,
okay.
So we are, but it's challenging because the tennis ball is not as heavy as a softball, or a baseball, or even a golf, right? So it's not as heavy. So every time you toss it or you hit it, it moves a lot more. So it's a little more challenging.
Yeah, I could definitely imagine that. And of course, we got to talk a lot of different things here today, but one of them is that the women's tennis tournament will also be coming to a close as we get in here to playoff time for Nebraska baseball around the corner, but softball and just a lot of the spring sports kind of coming to an end. And tennis will be doing the same down in Athens this week. 8 teams left, 1 Big Ten team, Ohio State. I think that's the same case in men's as well. So Ohio State's having a heck of a year.
Actually, speaking of that, Ohio State's actually the oldest school in the country that has men and women in the Elite Eight. So it's kind of cool. Good for the Big Ten. It shows the top of our conference is. But they're actually starting tomorrow on the women's side. The men start today before the final. So it's a lot of good tennis there.
Yeah. I asked Peter Cobelt, of course, the men's tennis coach, the other day on Tuesday, if there's a sort of conference pride. I know you guys have a text chain from time to time. Are you no doubt cheering for Big Ten, or do you have some other allegiances you might think of?
I'll definitely pull in for the Big Ten. I want Ohio State to win it all if they can. Because I think they just represent our conference well, and I think it's also just it speaks. Everybody talks about the SEC tennis too, just like all the sports do. they talk about ACC, how good they are, how big they are, and how much they win and all that. And it's like, at times I think it's good to one of our to showcase that, hey, we, our conference is just as good. We have a few other teams in the Sweet 16 as too in the conference. So I think Ohio State is the only one that made it, but we're our conference is just as strong.
Yeah, and of course, I don't know how it works. So I'm going to ask you because I know sometimes you might not see every team in the Big Ten the next year on the schedule. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we have 4 no plays.
Okay.
And then we did play Ohio State this past year. Actually had a great match with them at home, and then we play a couple other ones. So yeah, we have 4 no plays, and it kind of rotates every year. So
yeah, that's what I was wondering because obviously if they won the title and you get to play them next year, that's another. It would be something kind of cool to say, hey, we can knock off the defending champs.
I think we're going to their place next year.
So, okay, well, even harder.
It'll be fine. It'll be cool. No, I think it's. I think it's good to play the best teams in the country, and it's it measures kind of where you are and maybe where you need to go, and we all strive to be there. We all want to be there.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good measurement to see kind of are we this far? Are we close? I mean, they're number 2 right now in the country, or the top 5, and then we play them very close this year. So I think it's like we're close. Maybe we're just like maybe need to be just a little bit in a few spots and. A consistency, maybe a little more as well, but we had a great team. We had a really good group, and hopefully we keep growing there.
Yeah. We talked about it before, but weekly. I'll kind of get like a weekly update because we might have some new listeners too. I know you didn't have a senior laden roster this past year. How much of that group is coming back?
Yeah, I mean, we have one actually senior. She kind of graduated early.
Okay.
And then she's going to grad school, right now. So we just kind of have one senior, and everybody else, the ones that play, I would say the last match of the season that play in the top 6, everybody's going back.
Yeah.
So everybody that play in the top 6 the last match, So I think it's exciting. It's exciting that we have most of the group back, a great group, and the one leaving too is great athlete, representative of the school as well. So we'll miss her for sure, but. Yeah, no, we're excited. I think the girls are excited, and actually just came from practice, and they're putting in the work, So it's good.
That is fun. So what does a tennis practice look like at this time of the year? Does it change? I mean, I would think it would. Obviously, your season just comes to a conclusion, as opposed to like in-game weeks and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So today we play all points. But the last few days we just been playing on a few more specific things, working on a few specific things. So they're working out a lot more, so they're a little heavy on the workouts right now on the weight room. So tennis, they tend to be a little more heavy, a little more tired, So tennis is a little. We try to switch some things up. Today was all point play, and they did a great job. So it's only a few in town. The rest are ready to travel home, and some are going to go play tournaments here soon. So. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting too. You mentioned the weight room. How big of that is a factor in tennis? Is there periods of the time of the year you said you don't want to do?
Yeah. Well, during the season we back off a little bit because you don't want to fatigue too much, or you don't want to overwork it because then you tend to be slower on the court, or you can get more injured. So, I mean, weight room is a huge part nowadays. I think tennis is very physical, so we get to we want to. I mean, the 3 things that I think I look for when we work out is, to get faster, to get stronger, and can that help us, prevent more injuries? So that's kind of the goal. Just to be, can we work on getting faster, stronger, but also can that help in the injury prevention so we don't get us hurt? And I think it's what we will want to do is like we don't want to have one great match and the next day you're tired and fatigued and you can't, It's whatever we do is be like, all right, can we do these back to back days and then feel like we're fresh enough, And a lot of it's what we do on the court, but also what they do on the weight room too. So, yeah.
And how much of that too? I mean, obviously you think of tennis, you think of cardio is weights compared to just like you said, not getting exhausted.
Yeah. We do a little bit of we don't do like heavy weights. We do like a combination of between weights and circuits and. Some more specific kind of tennis workouts that, and then we get a little bit of the cardio when we're practicing. We do some drills that kind of make you tired.
Yeah.
And then we have to do it over and over again. So we do that, a little bit of that, and then but it's a combination of both. It's like you got to work on your strength because you kind of want to get you in the corners and be strong to hit the good ball and then come back and able to do it back-to-back days. But then the cardio part is also a part. Because can you play similar tennis in hour 3 in a match that you did the first hour?
Oof, yeah.
And then cardio. And then your muscles being able to have the oxygen to recover, is a big part. So it's a combination of all of it, yeah.
How often do you see that? Coach Ramon DeMelgar, Nebraska women's tennis, with us out here as we are at Bowlin Stadium for the softball Lincoln Regional starting here tomorrow. So we'll be out here all day. But it just kind of a few different thoughts there. How often do you see that in tennis? Somebody kind of winding down, or you could see the fatigue maybe more later in the match.
You could tell. I don't want to say it's easy to see, but you can see that when players are getting tired. It could be a combination of like it's back-to-back days that are very, very physical days. So the kind of on the end of the second day, you might be tired, and it's part of it. But I think those players that are most prepared, they tend to kind of handle the back end, better. And I think sometimes the fatigue leads to bad decisions. It leads to poor technique.
Mm-hmm.
It leads to kind of like your game falling apart because you feel like you're, physically you can't do as much. So I think it's a little bit of mental, a little bit of physical, that go hand in hand. And hopefully, I felt like we were a good prepared team in the physical aspect. That some of those matches I felt like we actually won because we were, in good physical shape. So. Yeah, it's all kind of a part of the circle, how to be the best you can be, So yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Obviously, there's many a sport out there where you're tired, you raise your hand and you sub. Okay, yeah,
exactly.
Not in tennis. Yeah,
not in tennis. Unfortunately, you're. That's exactly right. In football, basketball, or all sports, you could just be like, you do even in hockey. My son plays ice hockey, and they go hard for like a minute and a half, and then they take a break. In tennis, you can go hard for a minute and a half, and guess what? 30 seconds later, you're like, all right, you got to do it again, again and again. So it is a very physical, but also mental, because when you are tired and you are fatigued, it's easier to check out of points. It's easier to make bad decisions because you're just fatigued. So a little bit of the physical part that we work on, it also works on your mental side. Because we always want to. We tell our players, it's like, hey, when you're tired, when you're fatigued, keep working on making good decisions, because that helps you, instead of kind of feeling like you just want to get out of that situation, get out of the point, and sometimes that's how they get in trouble.
Yeah, I can certainly see that playing out. I know from myself getting tired, you sometimes take some shortcuts out there, and it usually doesn't lead to the best results.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah. I think we're all guilty of it at some point, I play points with the girls sometimes, and I'm definitely not in the same shape as I used to, or the shape they are, and I feel the same, and I try to be like, I can't show them what I preach not to do, So.
Yeah, that's right. That's funny. Do you so when you say play points, that's basically scrimmaging, right?
Yeah, scrimmaging with the girls.
Okay.
We do individuals. Sometimes we work on stuff, that. So I get in there every now and then. Yeah, I enjoy that part too. So.
Well, that's a very interesting dynamic, because obviously, like you said, you got to at least keep a standard of what you preach and what's going on out there. How often, I suppose, do you when you play them, are you trying to win? I mean, it's all one of those situations.
I mean, absolutely. I think there's situations where I'm very competitive too. So I tell them, it's like, hey, I don't want you to just walk all over me,
Yeah.
But if there's a situation where like I feel like they need a little extra confidence, a little extra, motivation on some things, I might take a little off,
Yeah.
there, and I try not to let them know that, But sometimes they can see it's like, oh, you didn't hit that like you can hit that. Oh, you didn't run for that like you usually do. And sometimes I try to be like, oh, that's a good shot, that's a good, but like combination, it's actually a funny story. Last summer, I was working with one of our players, and then we were playing a set, and then she started off, won the first 2 games. And I was like, okay, I haven't played in a while. So I was like, and then she makes a comment, be like, hey, coach, you want me to take it easy on you? And I was like, you know what? No. And then I ended up beating her.
You came back.
And I was like, There you go. Don't
Yeah.
relax. Don't let your guard down. But it was fun. It was just like competitive and good. It's good that I still play a little bit, so I enjoy that. But also, it gives me a good opportunity for me to see kind of what kind of ball they hit or what things we're working on and how would that affect their opponents. So I can relate a little more to that. So,
Well, it's interesting too because I'm just kind of thinking of different coaches across college tennis, and it's funny because you get into sports, you get into debates about, well, can you coach if you haven't played, type of thing, and there's certain examples where you can point out to in college football, NFL, where guys have been able to do that. I would think that would be pretty difficult in tennis, wouldn't it be?
I mean, I think it is. I see some coaches that they don't play much, and they're good coaches. Some others that are just kind of good talkers, about the game, but maybe they haven't had experience. I think it definitely helps, having the experience of playing, because I think I can relate to kind of where they want to go, where they're being, and the process of that.
Yeah.
How to get there, So I think that helps. I definitely think it's helpful, because I think they know too, and I think they trust, when I speak to the players, they know that, hey, it's like, well, my coach has been there, my coach has been in my shoes, and maybe he's even been higher to what I am right now, or what I want to get to, and then they can kind of relate that. They can understand the message of like, oh, this is what they're asking me to do is because he has that experience in there, So I think it's helpful.
Yeah, I would think so. Again, we're out here with the Nebraska women's tennis coach Herman Del Magro. You can see the backdrop of us behind us here, Bowlin Stadium, as the Lincoln Regional gets ready to go here Friday. Nebraska will get things going against South Dakota for the Huskers, at least. So we'll talk more about that throughout the day. Still wanted to kind of continue this conversation into I was wondering, because we talked about the tennis practices and how they can kind of change in the routines and such. Do you think if you go to different practices around the country that there will be much difference, or is there, I'm sure every coach has their own little bit of uniqueness, but do you think most tennis practices would be the same, or would they look a little bit different?
I mean, I think most look very similar. Every coach might have like a few drills that you might do different than others. I just don't think there's many secrets,
Yeah.
Tennis is tennis, it's like some might do different drills at different times, and some might run practice in a different way. Some are a lot more intense, some are a little less intense, some are more vocal, some are more involved, some are less involved. So I think it's that part can change, but what you do, I would say, is mostly very similar. There's obviously a few things here and there. I think the general part, I think, is very similar. And then when you get to specifics, you might have like a different style of coaching, different style of, how you run your week, what you work each day, But I would say for the most part, I would say it's pretty similar, But I would say we each kind of have kind of our own, do's and don'ts, and our own like favorite drills that we work on, or things that you feel like it gets to the team the most, and things that you maybe don't help us much, so you kind of try to stay away from those. And vice versa, like we have had some transfers in our team, and sometimes some are being in very successful teams, some are being in okay teams, and they're the best players. And sometimes we talk about what they do, and it's pretty similar, I mean, we had a guy that's come from a team that is in the top 10, and we do a lot of things very similar,
Yeah.
So it's like, and some are others are like, we just, some others will be like, oh, practice weren't as hard, as intense, and then that could change, and then some others could be like, no, it was, too intense, or the coach is, too hard on them, or too soft on them. I mean, it's like a balance of all, right? So I think that part changes a little bit, but the general part, I think, is pretty similar.
Yeah. I figured that might be the case. I've noticed over the years, I've been to several of the football practices under different leadership, and I think it is. You'd like for the outside to think there's some secret drills out there that only we have and can go out there, but most of it's probably pretty out there by now.
So you kind of want to at times to be like, oh, I think I want to say, hey, I invented this drill, and then I'm sure somebody else out there that thinks the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, no, this drill is super old. I don't think any of us are reinventing the wheel. I would say just about any sport, right? You might be introducing a few different things here and there, but I think it's the general thing. I think the sports evolve. Every sport evolves, but I don't think it changes too many things. Like some techniques might be a little different, but it changes based on what the sport is today, because based on the rackets, the string, the balls, those have changed a lot. The rackets are faster. You can hit the ball harder. You can do all things. Before you used to play with a wood racket, so technique has changed. The speed of the ball has changed, so you have to adapt to that. So we might do some things to adapt to that. So your physical aspect have changed. I think now everybody's stronger and faster than they used to be. It's more physical game than it used to be. So we adapt to that. But I don't think we have to overly change, the sport.
Yeah.
The lines, the measurements are all the same.
Yeah.
The ball is the same measurement. The racket is the same height. It's the same length. I would say. The same length, the same. It might change the width or how powerful the rackets are, but in general, most things have stayed. Which is true to most sports too.
Yeah.
A lot of things have stayed. It just changes how, in some sports, maybe softball or baseball, they might be hitting more home runs now. I don't know, because they're bigger and stronger. They might be pitching faster, so you have to adapt to how fast you swing. Maybe in tennis is similar.
Would there be any benefit, or I don't know if this happens in the tennis community at all, in kind of using the wooden rackets as beginners, or like a slower rackets, and then kind of getting into it? Obviously not at the college level,
I
but
think it's now there's kids rackets now.
Okay.
For kids, they're smaller, they're shorter, and they're very light, so it's easier for them to swing around. No, wood rackets are actually very heavy.
Okay.
They're heavier than most.
That'd be more
rackets.
difficult. Okay.
And they're more difficult, actually. Sometimes you can work on those with the wood racket to work on, point of contact or kind of the speed of your swing. But I would say it doesn't bring too many benefits anymore.
Yeah, fair enough. I've got several more questions as we're grilling you here today, Herman.
That's good.
Learning a little bit more about women's tennis and tennis in general, how the program is run. We do have to take a quick break, though, here on One-on-One. Once again, we are live out from the home of Nebraska softball, Bowlin Stadium, as they prepare to get things going in the postseason. We'll be back with more here with Coach Herman Delmagro coming up next year on One-on-One on 93.7 The Ticket.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood boils and Asian cuisine. Get your hands messy with fresh, flavorful seafood boils, hot, cold, and made to share. Or enjoy classic Chinese and Asian dishes, perfect for lunch, dinner, or a night out with friends and family. Big flavors, generous portions, and a brand new dining experience. Big 8, now open in Lincoln.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
Tomorrow is about the lessons we learn today. A farmer's market teaches us that community is grown together. Kids laughing shows us how joy is easy. And coffee on the porch reminds us to savor every moment. These are the lessons that shape a tomorrow we all share. One filled with trust, good company, and wide open dreams. That's the way banking should be. And that's Pinnacle Bank. Member FDIC.
Right now in Lincoln, neighbors are facing hunger and homelessness, and they need our help. Your donation to Matt Talbot Kitchen and Outreach for Give to Lincoln Day helps provide nutritious meals, safe shelter, and life-changing support. Your gift goes even further thanks to matching funds from the Lincoln Community Foundation. Working together, we can make our community stronger by ensuring that everyone has access to nutritious food and a safe place to sleep at night. Give to Matt Talbot today or anytime through May 28th at givetolincoln.com.
In communities like ours, local relationships still matter. At Insight Partners, we believe we are better together. That's why insurance agencies across the Midwest have joined Insight Partners to better serve local customers and communities with all their insurance needs. From personal to commercial or specialty insurance, your local Insight Partners team is here to help protect what matters most. Insight Partners, better together. Learn more at myinspartners.com.
A single mom of 3 was facing eviction, struggling with a recent separation, health issues, and no job or childcare. She feared losing everything, especially her children. But then she found support in her community made possible by Nebraska Children and Families Foundation. She was connected to support. By the end, her bills were paid, she loved her new job, and hope replaced fear. This is what the Nebraska Children and Families Foundation does. They lift up young people and families so they can find stability, build brighter futures, and power a stronger workforce. Ready to help make more stories like this come true? Support the Nebraska Children and Families Foundation on Give to Lincoln Day.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of showers and storms this afternoon. Otherwise, probably sunny and windy, a high near 85. Tonight, decreasing clouds and winds, a low around 57. And tomorrow, a slight chance of showers and storms late. Otherwise, mainly sunny, windy, and hot, a high near 95. I'm meteorologist Kyle Flecker for 93.7 The Ticket and ticketfm.com.
Hi, Charlie Stone again, and Andy Goodyear with Honda of Lincoln will be joining me to talk about the Honda Spring event. Andy, I know this is a big event for you. Please tell us all about it.
I want to start out by thanking the Lincoln car buyers for an incredible year in 2025. It's just been announced that Honda of Lincoln is Nebraska's only Honda dealer to earn the prestigious Honda President's Award for 2025.
Wow, that's great, Andy. How many times now have you earned that President's Award?
It's a total of 20 times now, Charlie. The Honda Spring event is truly a big event for us. We have incredible savings on every remaining 2025 and every new 2026. Special low rates, long-term financing, and special lease rates.
Maybe it's time you experience the best, the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Put lawn irrigation on automatic. Think Judson Irrigation for worry-free service to Lincoln homeowners and business community. Judson Irrigation will turn on your sprinkler system in the spring, repair or redesign as needed, and turn it off in the fall. For service to orphan sprinklers, remember Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Hey everyone, it's Brie Marie. Join me and James Rowland every Sunday night at 7 p.m. from April through August for the Finish Line. We'll do laps around the headlines in dirt track racing, let the rubber meet the road for NASCAR news, and talk with special guests, including your favorite local drivers and racing personalities. That's the Finish Line, Sunday at 7 p.m. all summer long on 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Couple Chevrolet, GMC, and Chevrolet. And GMC Truck Month is here. Absolutely huge discounts and 2.9% for 72 months. I also just wanted to share a little bit more about the Koppel family. They've been serving the Omaha and Lincoln and surrounding communities for over 50 years with great customer service and small town charm. That's always been our motto, and we absolutely will not be undersold. It truly is confident buying and confident driving. So come on in, meet the team, check us out at Koppel or at koppelcars.com. All deals with approved credit.
Where there's smoke, there's flavor, and there's plenty of it at the Smokehouse at Super Savor and Russ's Market. Award-winning old world recipes made in Lincoln since 1984 with many flavors of smoked sausage and brats to choose from. The Smokehouse has something special for every season: brats and sausages for the grill, beef sticks and beef jerky for snacking, and smoked salmon, smoked turkey, or smoked hams for your holiday feast. Stop by the Smokehouse at Super Savor and Russ's Market today to fulfill your search for real flavor.
Back to One-on-One with DP. Sponsored by the Downtown Lincoln Foundation on 93.7 The Ticket.
We are back on One-on-One with DP here on 93.7. The Ticket. I'm Jake Bakoven, live from Bowlin Stadium alongside Nebraska women's tennis coach Ramon Del Magro, who's gracious enough to join us out here on a bit of a windy day. We'll see if the wind keeps up and is a factor this weekend for the Lincoln Regional, of course, here for Nebraska softball. Your number one Nebraska softball, according to the rankings. Again, the tournament seeded them as the number 4 overall seed. Which is very interesting and a little bit, I'm a little bit disappointed that it took this long, because usually once you get to number 1, you have time to celebrate, and that's a huge deal, and it certainly is, but just right and stare in the face of tournament time, there's not much time to really celebrate it. You just got to focus on the next game, so it is what it is.
I think for them, being selected as a 4th seed felt like a little bit of a slap in the face, and then going back to being number 1. But even before, I think it's a little bit of like, hey, we're gonna prove everybody who we are, So I think it's exciting for them. A little bit of chip on the shoulder.
Yeah.
But they've been playing such a great ball. It's exciting to see. I'm looking forward to this regional.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. And we were talking too during the break. They've also got Big Ten track and field this week, which you can follow us on our socials. We're going to be checking that out here with 93.7 The Ticket, giving you coverage and report. That's going to be coming here from Lincoln. So it's a big sports weekend in general here in Lincoln, Nebraska, and how beautiful that is. We also mentioned too a little bit earlier the women's tennis season coming to an end. They're going to have the finals out there in Athens, Georgia. As we mentioned, Ohio State, Big Ten team in both the men's and women's side of things. So that could be exciting. I also want to give you a shout out, because I do remember you saying last week, Pepperdine don't sleep on Pepperdine. Pepperdine is a power in our sport. Pepperdine's still alive.
Exactly. Pepperdine is in the lead 8. People think it's a small mid-major, but they're not a small mid-major in tennis. They're always been a powerful. I think they made the quarterfinals literally the 6 of the last 8 years or something like that.
Oh wow!
In the top 8, so they are a powerhouse, I would say. And this year is no exception. They're playing really good tennis right now. So they have a very experienced team. They have a few freshmen that are 23 years old and
really
come from the pro tour.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they're seasoned and very experienced team. So. But no, they're a good team and they're playing good tennis. So,
I got a few questions with you for kind of thinking about roster and roster makeup. Of course, they're the ruling from the NCAA, not here yet, but they're talking about the 5-for-5. How would that impact Nebraska tennis, especially kind of in those years you're transitioning?
Yeah, I think it will impact all of us, because we'll have some decisions, as well to be. Players that are that could get that extra year, and they want that year. Do we want that year for them? What's the makeup of that? It also hurts some of the incoming freshmen, for that class. So it will be tough decisions, to be honest, on every aspect, for all of them. Not for the athletes only, for the high school coming in, for us coaches. It will be some challenging times ahead. So just making sure everybody's making the right decisions, for what every party involved is, So I don't know what is going to happen. We think that 5-for-5 is going to pass. We just don't know exactly how it's going to look.
Yeah.
I'm hoping by the end of the summer we know.
Yeah.
We have more answers than questions. But. We just kind of take it one day at a time with these rules. I think they're changing more frequently than ever. So I think it's just us understanding what they mean and how we move forward. And how we, the ultimate goal is, how we keep our program moving forward. So we'll make some decisions that maybe helps, our team the best way. Moving forward.
Well, I was wondering too, because every sport's a little bit different, but tennis is especially interesting because you've got the option to go pro, right, instead of going to college. So you would think within that the goal is to get to college, get experience, and get your degree. What's the percentage of college athletes? We hear it in that commercial. It's less than 1% or whatever that go pro in their sports. Is it similar from college tennis, or is there a little bit more?
I mean, I would say it's pretty similar from college to the pros.
Okay.
It might be 5%,
Yeah.
I mean, now there's different levels of pro tennis,
Yeah.
It's like, is it the pro tennis, the one that you see on the Grand Slams on TV, or is pro tennis kind of like the minor leagues, which is considered pro tennis, which is the Futures and Challengers, is a smaller events,
Okay.
kind of the events that we host
Yeah.
here in Lincoln. That's considered pro, but it's more on the kind of the minor league aspect of it. But they do go to that, and on that aspect there is plenty out there.
Okay.
There's way more than a small percentage. Now the ones that make it to the top 50 or top 100 in the world, definitely is on the smaller aspect, but we do have a lot. I think to me the bigger aspect is the ones that are not coming to college, that they go pro.
Yeah.
That's actually probably a bigger, around the world, right? Not just in the U.S. but around the world. I think there's plenty more really good players that are not going to college that just want to take the pro route, and they might be one of those that are like in the minor leagues for a few years, before they make it, or they're kind of playing those smaller tournaments for a while, and then they decide that maybe they can't make it, and then maybe they want to choose to come college. It might be too late, or and if they don't, if they can't get here, then they go on to either study back home or do something else. But yeah, it happens a lot.
With that in thought too, and bear with us, the wind bothering us a little bit again out here. Part of the deal out here coming out to Bowlin Stadium in Nebraska. The wind can pick up. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting again with that 5-for-5 rule coming down, all the differences that you might have to make, decisions that you have to make, like you said. Obviously, I would think that most people play at least recreationally after they quit. Well, what would you think, or after they graduate? What would you think would be the percentages that go to the challengers and stuff like that?
I would say more is in the maybe 15 to 20%.
Okay.
At least give it a try.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little higher. I don't know. But I would say it's more of like, hey, I'm gonna give it a try. I think it's a good amount of percentage. Now the ones that make it, obviously that percentage is small, but I think it's I always tell our players on regrets too. It's like give it a try while you can.
Yeah.
It's like, so you have no regrets later on in life. Just be like, I have a few regrets. I played some pro, but not as much, and I kind of regret not trying it longer.
Yeah.
And I kind of got into coaching right away. So I kind of feel like, I wish I would have given it a little longer try, or more of a that. But it's like I tell the girls, it's like you try it when you can. Give yourself a chance.
Yeah.
We have a couple of former players right now that they're actually doing that.
Okay.
They're based here, but they're trying to play pro, and I told them, it's like, hey, prepare the best way, try to do the best you can right now, and give yourself a try, because once you're older and once you miss that window, then it's it's so hard to go back to it. It's like any sport, right? You're not gonna be like, let me take 5 years off and come back to the tour. No, it can't happen almost, right? So I always tell them, it's like, hey, give yourself a try now, and see. And so they might be in the small, tour level tournaments for a while until they make it, but at least they say, hey, you know what, I gave myself a chance.
Will there be some former Huskers in the Lincoln Challenger that's coming up this summer, or is that I know you got a lot of international flavors, so I don't know if they hung around.
There will be. I'm assuming there will be one or two, or maybe some of the actually current team members.
Okay, current players can do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
current players. I'm assuming there'll be a few, and then a few others as well. So.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Well, another question I had as we were talking about practice throughout, and I didn't quite get to it, is the NCAA limits on practice. How much are you limited? What is the kind of rules around team activities as compared to, obviously anybody, as long as you can find a partner, you can go out and practice some tennis.
Yeah. So in tennis, for the year we have 144 days. To go, and then out of those days, then you have your 20 hours, that you use, 20 hours a week, and then you got max of 4 hours per day between practices and workouts, all that. Summer workouts are a little different because they're all volunteer workouts.
Okay.
So all those workouts are based on, athletes wanting to ask coaches, be like, hey, can we, can I work out with you, coach? So summer is all volunteer workouts, but we have, very motivated players that want to hit every day. So we're out there, every day, and it's more of there's not a limit on hours. It's more of a volunteer workouts, which is good. I think it's like, tennis is pretty much a year-round sport. So if you want to get better, you just got to put the work in.
Yeah.
They know that. It's not just coming from me, but they kind of know what it takes. So.
I always wonder too with these programs, is there like a big board where you say there's 144 you can do? You got like you get a big X and mark one off every time?
We don't have that, but we try to have a balance, between what we do, team, individuals, and kind of days off. Every player also needs a little reset, a few days off to reset and recharge type of deal. But kind of like it takes what it takes. It's like it's one of those that you got to put the work in, to see the results on the other side, to what people see, the work needs to put in what nobody sees, right? So, you got to put in the work, and most of the time, I would say, it pays off.
Yeah.
Sometimes, obviously, you can put the work in and don't get all the results you want, but I always tell our team, at least you gotta give yourself a chance, so you gotta prepare the best way possible.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I always want to leave the show asking what's next for you in Nebraska women's tennis. But I know right now, is it still recruiting period? Is that kind of what you're on?
Still is.
Yes.
We're portal season is still open for us. We actually have a visit here coming on Monday, and then hopefully one or two more, and then maybe we get a few commits here in the next week or so. But it's recruiting never stops. So it's pretty much year long, and right now especially we're busy on recruiting. Portal season is open for us, and then besides that is tournaments and travel and all that. So yeah, it never stops.
Yeah, it never stops. That's not a surprise. Always working, but we always are happy to be joined by Germán Delmacro. This time again from Bowlin Stadium, as we will be until 6 o'clock here on 93.7 The Ticket. As long as we don't blow away, which we're going to be working on as well. But thanks for joining us once again, Coach.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, and best of luck to softball behind us here.
Absolutely. Should be a fun weekend here with softball again and Big Ten track and field in town this weekend. We'll take a quick break here. We'll be back around the corner. The big man, Adam Carricker, is here ready to roll for our next show from Bowlin Stadium here on 93.7 The Ticket.